The Samsung 2022 Neo QLED QN85B. We're checking out the 55-inch version today, doing a little unboxing, but not actually going to show the unboxing. We're just going to show you the box and then boom, setup time. Because I don't really think you guys want to watch me struggle to lift a 55-inch TV. It's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys a couple of new changes to the Neo QLED lineup, and also we're going to discuss some disappointments as well as go through some of the setup process. Let's get it going. Just a quick reminder, I will put a link for the product in the description below. If you use those links to buy anything at all, it helps out the channel. Thank you guys so much. All right, really quickly, let me walk you through the setup process and then I'll talk about the panel type as well as the new changes to the TV. All right, so going through the initial setup, it's pretty straightforward to be honest with you. I think most people will be able to figure that part out. After the fact, when you get into the actual TV setup process, when you go into picture settings, you definitely want to go into power saving mode and disable all of those things because otherwise your picture will change and your brightness will change. You just don't want that stuff, so make sure you turn that off. We'll get into picture settings a little bit later, but first let's talk about the panel type and then we'll get into the big changes for this TV. Okay, so like a scene out of Uncut Gems, I did pop out the jeweler's loop and I put it up to the screen and I did verify that it is an ADS panel. I am so disappointed. Samsung, you duped us. You duped us. You put ultra wide viewing angle on your website, making us think it was a VA panel, and that was determined to be a lie because the ultra viewing angle, yeah, I really wouldn't call it ultra, but I'm still not like super crushed because I did want to review the QN85A last year, so to get the predecessor and to still have the ADS panel, that lets me make a fair comparison with the QN90B when it is side by side to the QN85B. And I gotta tell you, this isn't a review, but right off the bat, the picture quality, the amount of brightness that you're getting out of this TV when you are straight on, it is insane. The brightness is really good. I'm talking QN90A levels of good. So I really wanted to put an emphasis on gaming in this video and the game settings. So we're going to do that in just a second. But first, let's talk about the other changes that are non-game related. All right, so if you're used to a Samsung TV, right away when you press the home button, you're going to be very disappointed because all of a sudden you're just met with a full screen of why would they do such a thing? The reason why I say this is because I thought that the Samsung TVs had one of the better user experiences when it comes to setting up the menu, going to settings quickly, switching your inputs. Everything was just so fast and fluid. Now you want to introduce a full screen home screen that just changes things completely. No longer is it a quick, smooth experience with the home key. No. In fact, most of you guys should probably just forget about the home key. Unless you're trying to get into your apps fast, this is the only time you really want to use the home key. And it's also one of the only ways you could switch inputs, which is kind of annoying. But so how do you get to the old settings menu? How do you kind of pull up the settings bar? Well, you have a 1, 2, 3 key that is now shared with the settings button. When you press it the first time, you're met with that 1, 2, 3 prompt. But if you press up on the controller, you can get into your settings menu and then it'll look a little bit familiar. So the new game bar for 2022, you're able to change the input lag now from fast to faster to fastest. Don't know why you would want to do this. It might have something to do with the local dimming. I have to check. I'll have to do some tests on that. I'm not really sure. The next thing is going to be game picture mode. This is kind of borrowed from LG's Game Optimizer, but this is better than Game Optimizer because you are able to save the whole entire picture preset. So what I mean by that is you can actually just go ahead and customize whatever picture option you want. So let's say you want RTS to be color 50. You can go ahead and put it at color 50. Not that you would want to do that, but I'm just saying that's just what you could do. So if you just wanted to have like a maxed out 50 color profile, then you could do that and you could save that under RTS. So whenever you play a RTS game, you can have your RTS 50 color profile pop up. And so it also saves color tone and gamma, all the stuff that's under expert settings is all saved under that picture preset. In my opinion, this is a great thing. I personally like to switch my settings up depending on what game I play. So if I have 5 favorite types of games, I could use those presets to lock in the settings that I want for that game. And you really don't have to use the game genres as what they are. They're just picture presets, right? So you could technically have a racing game be under RPG if you wanted to. As long as you remember that's where it is, then that's fine. So it really doesn't matter where you put your picture presets or how you set them up. They're all going to be your personal preference. Out of the box, the picture presets, they're not good. They're just a bunch of presets with contrast enhancer turned on. For the most part, I don't recommend contrast enhancer because it will eliminate a lot of details for the picture that you're looking at. And that's a shame because there's a lot of good details from a TV like this. But I do like that you can change the picture modes. That is really awesome. Hats off to Samsung for giving us that option. It is definitely better than the LGs, where you only have a slider for the black and white levels on the LG TVs. And I'm going to go over the help guide really quick. That way I could explain pretty much all the different settings and what they do. So the stuff I didn't talk about yet, screen ratio. This is a PC only feature. So you have to have a PC connected to your TV. You can change your setup to a 21:9 resolution or a 32:9 resolution. You can also do a mini map zoom this year. Sound output is pretty straightforward. You can change your sound output on the fly. The dynamic black equalizer. This is going to increase the visibility of objects lurking in the dark, improves black detail and clarity. You can control the black detail levels with 5 steps. Game Motion Plus is one of my favorite features on a Samsung TV. So it's going to be smoother motion in your games. The way I use it personally is when I'm playing a 30 frames per second game and I really just want it to feel like a 60 frames per second game, I can crank the judder up to 10 and the blur to 0, and I have a game that feels like I'm playing 60 frames per second experience. And on the flip side, you could use it with 60 frames per second games to make it feel like it's more of a 120 hertz feel. So I think that's a really cool feature that they implemented on Samsung TVs. Of course, you cannot use this with VRR, so you probably want to make sure you play it with a stable game. Otherwise, VRR is going to be the preferred method. I have a separate video that explains everything about Game Motion Plus, so make sure you check that out if you still want to learn more about Game Motion Plus. Also on the screen, you can see that there is a FPS counter on the bottom. When you have VRR turned on, this will be a variable refresh rate that is changing all the time. If you don't have VRR on, it'll be locked at the refresh rate that is set on your console. Under the game mode settings, you have the game mode toggle where you could put on ALLM if you want to, or you could turn off ALLM here. You can have the ability to turn on and off your surround sound with this toggle. You also have dynamic black equalizer, which we spoke about just a second ago, Game Motion Plus, which I also just spoke about, and then of course HDR tone mapping. This is going to be how you enable HDR10 Plus. When you have a game that supports HDR10 Plus, you can select it through this toggle. The second option is Game HDR. You're going to want to select this and toggle it on most of the time. This is also going to be how you enable HGIG compliant games. So when you have your system settings set through your Xbox for HDR and your game supports it, you're going to want this clicked on to get proper HGIG. So those are the big changes for the game bar. Overall, it's an improvement over last year, and I want to see game bar and game optimizer, things like that, added to more TVs. Sony, I'm looking at you. Since we're on the topic of gaming, of course, we have 4 HDMI ports that are 2.1 certified, and this is a great thing for Samsung considering they only had one HDMI 2.1 port in the past. So definitely a big step up. Now we just got to get Sony to step up to the plate with the HDMI ports and we'll be all good. The other thing that Samsung added this year was the smart calibration feature where you can use your smartphone to calibrate your TV. Smart calibration will automatically adjust your screen picture quality menu to enable the best display's performance and produce accurate picture quality based on the international standards. That is a direct quote from Samsung. You can download the app and try it out yourself. If you guys are curious more about smart calibration, I will have a video going through the smart calibration process, and we're going to check out to see what the results are. So what do you think of the QN85 so far? Are you disappointed that it has an ADS panel, or is it what you expected? If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Stay tuned for the full review that's coming up. And if you want to see more on 2022 TVs, check out the videos at the end of this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.